In this video, I'm going to share my top 10 picks for the best wireless noise cancelling earbuds of 2025. Hey there, if you're new to recordingnow.com, we purchase every single product we review on this desk right here, including these 14 pairs of earbuds, on a mission to create the largest database of honest wireless headphone and earbud reviews, detailed head-to-head comparisons, and overall rankings to help you make a more informed purchase. Also, I use my background in pro audio to create custom EQ settings for most of the headphones, which you can access by visiting recordingnow.com using the chat bot in the bottom right, typing in the model name plus EQ. Alright, so just to explain the criteria for this top 10 list, this is more of a subjective preference for what I believe are the top 10 earbuds that I personally would own after having tested 14 of these that you see here and over 30 wireless noise cancelling headphones as well. Now, buying all these pairs of earbuds and headphones is not cheap, so I want to take a quick moment to thank today's sponsor, FlexiSpot, who makes this content possible. I'd like to take a quick moment to shout out this video sponsor, FlexiSpot, who generously provided this beautiful E7 Pro standing desk. I went with this beautiful bamboo wood finish along with a white frame underneath. I personally like to switch between standing and sitting throughout the day just to stay active. Now, what impresses me the most about the E7 Pro is that it has a 440-pound static capacity stability. Here, I'm showcasing my friend sitting on the desk to show you how durable it is. This is a dual motor 3-stage semi-C leg structure. And just to showcase how stable and smooth it is, here is a full glass of water, and just look how it barely moves as I'm raising the height of the desk. The height is adjustable from 25 inches to 50.6 inches, which is going to allow you to dial in your perfect work from home setup regardless of your height. And there is a 15-year warranty with 30 days risk-free return service. Now, if you're interested in your own standing desk, FlexiSpot is currently running a Black Friday sale up to 80% off, the biggest discount ever, and also there's a chance to get 100% free orders. You can visit FlexiSpot.com. I'm going to put a link in the video description and in a pinned comment below. So go ahead, visit their website, customize your desk, and if you want to save some money, you can leave a note saying recording now at checkout and use my code YTE730 to save an extra $30 off and get your own E7 Pro standing desk, which would really mean a lot and really helps to support the channel. Thanks again to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. All right, so back to the top 10 list. I want to share that the main criteria is going to be sound quality number one, but I'm also going to be factoring noise canceling as a close second factor when it comes to choosing these wireless earbuds. Again, these are the wireless earbuds that I personally would own and purchase with my own money. And so the top 10 is going to have a combination of sound quality being the number one factor, followed by noise canceling as a close second, and a distant third would be the comfort and fit. How easy is it to get a proper seal? And then fourth would be convenience and factoring things like being an Apple user versus Android. Now, before we dive in, I'm going to share an honorable mention of 4 of these earbuds that did not make the top 10, but this list is so competitive that I can actually tell you I would be happy if I owned any of the honorable mention as my daily driver. So first would be the AirPods Pro 2. I'm actually a big fan of the AirPods Pro 2nd generation. Even in 2025, it's now been succeeded by the AirPods Pro 3, which we will get into. But the Pro 2 has some of the best, most natural, lively, and exciting tuning. Not to mention, being an Apple product, if you are an Apple or iOS system user, it's really hard to beat the convenience and seamless connectivity of AirPods. Now, moving on to the Nothing Ear 3, I'm actually a fan of these earbuds, but I simply haven't spent enough time to properly gauge where these would be in the top 10. As I spend more time with these, I do think that they will have a place on the top 10 and possibly bump one of these other options off. Next, we have this Sony XM4, which is actually a fan favorite, and this is actually an earbud that I also would consider using, primarily due to its noise cancelling, which I do believe is elite. It's one of the best out of this entire group. But for me, this sound quality is a little bit lacking, not to mention the comfort and fit, because these are a larger earbud that I simply don't think has as easy or natural of a fit as some of these other options, including the newer XM5. Now, last but not least, we have the OnePlus Buds Pro 3, which was actually developed in collaboration with Dyne Audio. So I'm not sure if I just received a defective pair or not, but there was a lot of promise with the OnePlus Buds Pro 3. I do see the potential, but for some reason, I just found that its sound quality was a little disappointing for me. So again, I think that there may be something wrong with this pair specifically, so I'd like to test another pair and give it another chance. If anybody owns the OnePlus Buds Pro 3 and has any experience versus any of these other headphones, maybe they can share in the comments. All right, so with all that out of the way, let's start with number 10. We have the Google Pixel Buds Pro 2. Now, I was pleasantly surprised by the Pixel Buds Pro 2 because let's start with a very easy, comfortable fit. Really had no issue getting a proper seal with these. And what surprised me about the Google Pixel Buds Pro 2, as someone who is a fan of the AirPods Pro 2, is that I really do think that it's pretty much on par, if not better, in almost every category than the AirPods Pro 2, which I already would use as a daily driver. My only caveat is that you do need to be an Android user because there is not an iOS app to manage these earbuds, so you can't update the firmware or change any of the settings. But when it comes to its sound quality, its noise canceling, and its comfort, I do think it's a superior product to something like the AirPods Pro 2. At number 9, we have the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. This is a product that pleasantly surprised me, and I basically think of these as an AirPods Pro 2 Plus. I think they are better than the AirPods Pro 2 in every way, whether that comes to having a more natural, easy fit that creates a easier seal. One cool thing about the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro is that it doesn't go as deep into your ear canal, so I find these to be sort of a hybrid between the in-ear AirPod Pro line and the regular AirPods that doesn't have an ear tip. Now, the sound quality and the noise canceling performance I noticed was higher than the AirPods Pro 2. And overall, I'm really surprised with all of those factors, including the app being quite advanced and having a lot of options. But one caveat, just like with the Google Pixel Buds Pro 2, is that there is no iOS app to manage these earbuds. So you'll need to have an Android device if you want to be able to update the firmware, change any of the settings. So those are my two caveats with these two pairs specifically, the Google Pixel Buds Pro 2 and the Samsung, because these are two of the pairs that do not have any native iOS app to manage for Apple users. I believe every other one of these does have support on Apple, but if you are an Android user, I would actually rank these even higher on this list because they are basically the equivalent of the AirPods Pro 2, but for non-Apple users. All right, so at number 8, I have the Bose QC Ultra first generation. What I like about the Bose QC Ultra is, as the name suggests, the comfort. Unlike these other earbuds, you have the ability to customize both the ear tip and this wing tip to get a more secure fit inside of your ear. And simply put, I found these very easy to get a proper seal while at the same time being very comfortable to wear for hours. Next, the noise canceling is above average, although it is not elite, and it also has the most hissing sound, just like the QC Ultra first generation headphones. And then when it comes to the sound quality, I found it to be slightly above average and competing with some of the higher earbuds on this list, but not quite in that elite level of sound quality. But when you factor in all those things together, I actually found myself being a fan of the Bose QC Ultra as a daily driver. All right, so moving on to number 7, here we have the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 4. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know we are big fans of the Sennheiser Momentum 4 over-ear headphones, and I was actually pleasantly surprised by the earbud counterpart, which in some ways I actually thought sounded better out of the box than the stock Momentum 4's factory tuning. I think the fit is about average here. There's nothing that really stands out. The noise canceling is also something that probably could be a little improved. It's about average to me. But the main appeal for the Momentum True Wireless 4 is going to be that sound quality. I think it has a very balanced and neutral sound signature that does actually remind me of the Momentum 4 headphones, but less bass heavy and just slightly more balanced. I would say the caveat to this is they sound a little bit more boring and not as exciting or musical as some of the other earbuds higher up on this list. And the only other caveat is these sound better with the noise canceling turned off. But overall, these are a very solid wireless noise canceling earbud. All right, so number 6 on this list is the Cambridge Audio M100. Again, if you're a fan of the channel, you would know that we're big fans of the Cambridge Audio P100 full-size over-ear noise-canceling headphones, for me, the M100 actually scores very well for both sound quality and noise canceling. The noise canceling is firmly above average and much better than I was expecting, and competing with some of the better options for the class, but maybe not quite that top elite level, which we'll get into. But the sound quality to me is actually top 3 or top 4. And then the last thing, the value of these is incredible. But the only caveat is that these are actually not for sale on Amazon, so I'm not sure if they're discontinuing these earbuds or not supporting them anymore. So that just gives me a little bit of a pause. But if you're okay with that, then I actually think the M100 is a very solid all-arounder. I'm just a little bit worried about the future product support, so that's why it's not higher on this list. All right, so now we come to the top 5, and these are really the best earbuds that I personally would consider using on a daily basis. I would be completely happy with any of these options, and it was really hard to get the order. But I do believe that these top 5 are in a tier above the rest of this list. So starting at number 5, we have the Sony WF-1000 XM5. So the XM5 really improves upon the XM4 in both the fit. It's a lot smaller and more streamlined than the XM4. Just to give you a comparison of the size of the earbuds here, the XM4 being much larger and bulkier. Now, when it comes to the fit of the XM5, I think it's fine, but I did purchase aftermarket memory foam ear tips. This is something that I've also done with the AirPods Pro 2 as well. I think the stock ear tips are completely fine, but it just could be better. Now, the noise canceling is the reason why this is in the top 5. This is one of the best noise canceling on this list, bar none. And it really surprised me because it rivals some of the over-ear wireless noise canceling headphones like the Sony XM6 even. So if you're looking at these earbuds and you're really all about the noise canceling, then the XM5 is an option that you cannot go wrong with. Now, moving on to the sound quality, this is actually another pleasant surprise. So I found that it has a very audiophile and balanced tuning that is quite detailed. It's not overly consumer friendly in any way, and overall it's just very pleasing to listen to. So when you combine that with that world-class noise canceling performance, the XM5 is absolutely in the running for being the best daily driver on a day-to-day basis, using them conveniently in a practical way. Yeah, the XM5 really surprised me, and I would highly recommend them. Maybe get some memory foam ear tips to make the experience even better. All right, so at number 4, we have the newer Bose QC Ultra 2nd Gen. Now, interestingly, these kind of look the exact same as the 1st gen. So on the surface, it looks like they didn't really change much. So you may be wondering, okay, is this really like just a small update? Now, I will say that there's less of an improvement from the 1st gen Bose QC Ultra headphones to the 2nd gen, but they improved the 1st gen in pretty much every way, especially that noise canceling, which has been improved. It is stronger now. It's on that level of the XM5 and another option, which we'll get into in the top 3. The sound quality was pretty good for the QC Ultra 1st gen. It's a pleasing consumer friendly sound. We're getting largely a lot of that with the 2nd gen as well. And that comfort and fit has been unchanged for a good reason, because it's simply one of the most natural and best fitting earbuds on this list. So as an all-rounder, the Bose QC Ultra 2nd Gen is a recommended buy, and now that noise canceling is one of the best for the class, it's hard to go wrong with these as a daily driver. All right, so at number 3, we have the relatively newer AirPods Pro 3rd generation. So obviously, when Apple releases a new product, there is so much hype. There's so much excitement. On opening day, I shared that I waited in line for, I believe, hours at the Apple store to pick up the AirPods Pro 3, give my first impressions. That video ended up getting quite a lot of views. And my overall sentiment is that the AirPods Pro 3 improves upon the Pro 2 in every single way, other than the sound profile, which unfortunately has moved towards a more consumer-friendly bass and treble forward sound, which is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, especially if you're an audiophile. That said, they did improve the resolution of the AirPods Pro 3. So to my ear, this is one of the most detailed, resolving, and highest clarity of the earbuds in this class now. And when you combine that with these having some of the best noise canceling performance now, and also improving upon that fit with the shape and the stock ear tips, and then above all of that, the Apple ecosystem connectivity for those who are in the iOS, macOS ecosystem, the AirPods Pro 3 is a really hard to beat all-arounder. And I would use these on a daily basis, no questions asked. All All right, so now we get to the top two, and one caveat I want to say about these are really about that audiophile next level sound quality rather than the noise canceling, which is going to be a little bit below average for both. So at number 2, we have the Bowers & Wilkins PI8. So if you follow the channel, we've reviewed a ton of Bowers & Wilkins headphones, and my overall sentiment of the brand is that they make pretty solid products, and the PI8 is no different there. So easily compared to these 14 earbuds, this is one of the best sounding products when it comes to its overall resolution, clarity, all of those audiophile technicalities. It's just on a higher level. The only other wireless earbud that can compete with this on this list is going to be the number 1, and you could argue that these sound better for certain ears and certain preferences than the number 1 on this list. And the main reason is going to be the sound profile, which is very consumer friendly. It's very musical, warm, bassy, and very exciting to listen to. Really, the only caveats to the PI8 are going to be that the noise canceling is much worse than the elite options for this class. The only plus side being that the best sound quality with these is with noise canceling turned on, whereas for some of these, including number 1, they actually sound better with noise canceling off. And then the price. So depending on what the price is, it seems to fluctuate, but this is one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive pair of earbuds. So it may be very overpriced depending on your budget and simply not as good of a value. All right, so rounding up the top 10 list, it leaves us with one overall winner. And again, I want to iterate that this is going to be for its sound quality. And so for number 1, we have the Technics AZ100. So the main reason that these are at the top of this list is going to be its sound quality and the sound quality alone. Starting with the fit and comfort, I actually found these to be some of the more annoying to get a proper seal and a proper fit. I wish that there was aftermarket ear tips, memory foam ear tips that I could replace to get a better fit. Next, the noise canceling in my testing was well below average, and I actually heard worse sound quality with noise canceling turned on, which does kind of defeat the purpose a bit. But when we talk about the sound quality, these are the best sounding earbuds out of this entire list. The only one that can really compete is the Bowers & Wilkins PI8, which has a more consumer-friendly tuning. These have a more balanced tonality. They call this a reference pair. So for the audiophiles out there, that's going to mean that these are going to be very detailed. They're aiming for accuracy as opposed to being super consumer-friendly and super hyped in the frequency response. I found that to be true. These are just so detailed. They have a fairly natural timbre, very clear vocals. The tuning actually does remind me a bit of the AirPods Pro 2, but just higher resolution, better dynamics. And overall, these are just pleasing in general. They're accurate, but still being musical, engaging, energetic. And they also sound fairly open in terms of the soundstage, whereas some of these earbuds can sound quite narrow and closed off. Then we have the bass, which is tight and present. It's not overpowered or boomy, and it reaches deep down in that sub bass in those lowest frequencies. So there you have it. That is my top 10 for the wireless earbuds of 2025. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment below. And if you have any questions about any of these earbuds, I try to get back to as many people as possible. So feel free to ask anything or share your experiences with any of these earbuds, your comparisons, whether you agree, disagree. I love hearing about other people's experiences. Last but not least, if you love listening to music as much as we do, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we have a ton more content to wrap up the year, including more headphone content and earbud content coming soon. Lastly, I want to thank FlexiSpot again for sponsoring this video, making content like this possible. There's going to be links in the description to check out their products. If you want to keep watching our content to help you make a more informed purchase, I'm going to link a relevant video and playlist here. Thanks for watching and happy listening.